Hey guys, Tank Master here, back with another video. Today I am here reacting to the top 10 Darkest Kids Show episodes featuring Blame It on George. This one's by Phantom Strider. I am going to put a link to both of their channels in the description. Well, this one to the original video, and then next one to Blame It on George. This channel. I like both of their videos. They make some amazing top 10s, but they're mostly deal with serious topics. Sorry. And I will be recording another video next week on why I was not at school for four and a half. We'll go with 4.5 days. If I'm able to. Which I should be able to. Hopefully the school does not follow my YouTube channel. That'd be a great thing.
Here we go. It's time.
Let's get it. Well, that's depression. Not a good thing to say. But
Explore those strange moments where kids shows got too uncomfortable or dark, sometimes being pulled or never.
Okay, two things. One, that one looked like Squidward was about to hang himself. Two, Elmo has seen some shit. I'll just say that right now.
Read it all.
Remember hearing about John?
Sorry. About who? Sorry, but you're gonna see me cracking a lot of jokes, but it's because these kind of get me a little scared.
John Lennon being shot in New York.
Often discussing subjects that are considered too controversial or adult.
Hang on a minute. All I'm gonna say is, man, does it feel good to be back recording videos.
Be allowed in kids shows. So let's check out the top.
There are a lot of shows like that. Oh, also, if you want me to release another video tomorrow telling you about my bully experience, oh boy, that's going to be a fun topic. Do let me know, and I will release that video tomorrow, actually. I'll record it. I'll release this one tonight. Well, by the time you'll see this, it'll probably be tomorrow morning. But I'll release it tonight, and then release that video tomorrow, and then a week after I'll really hopefully, like, literally I will release it a week later. So yeah, let's get in.
10 darkest kids show episodes. But you know, Blame It on George is a master of this creepy kids show stuff. I can't help but feel like George will have already covered.
I'm sorry, those were baby dolls.
10 darkest kids show episodes. But you know, Blame It on George is a master of this creepy kids show stuff. I can't help.
Shoot, you just seen that, didn't you? Fuck. That's hopefully I can edit that to be my thumbnail.
I feel like George will have already covered a list similar to this.
Yes, I have. On multiple occasions, actually. And Strider, I think I can offer some help with this list, if you don't mind.
Ah, howdy, George. Hey, that's a great idea. We can dig up some of these dark episodes together.
Okay, let's go.
Number 10. Sesame Street, the 9/11 episode.
Now I regret making that joke. Fuck, I did not know that was the episode.
Sesame Street creators were heavily affected by 9/11 as they filmed Sesame Street in New York, and many saw the disaster.
Are you folks okay?
Yes, we're fine, thank you.
So they asked themselves the difficult question, how can they talk about this with children?
They eventually decided to make an episode where Elmo and Maria get caught in a fire in Mr. Hooper's store.
I'll call the fire department. Come on, Elmo. Stay low and go.
What's so cool about this show, though, is that they discuss it after. After the fire, we see Elmo start to get symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder.
It's okay. There's nothing to be afraid of. The chief said that the fire's out.
Elmo doesn't care, Alan. Elmo doesn't want to go back in the Hooper store ever again.
But the firefighters shift this towards post-traumatic growth by explaining everything to Elmo and showing him the fire station.
What's a firehouse? Is it a house that's on fire?
No, it's a place where firefighters like me wait until it's time to go put out a fire.
The same fire station that Elmo goes to actually lost 12 firefighters in the 9/11 attacks. But that really shows just how much respect went into this episode.
It was both a tribute to the firefighters and a way of showing kids that there are things they can be scared of that are out of their control, but there are adults that are doing the best they can to protect them. Sesame Street is a show that can handle even the darkest concepts, from death to fear to loss, with respect and deep care.
Elmo was scared before, but Elmo isn't scared anymore.
You were in a fire before, Elmo. That's a scary thing.
It is, Mr. Bill.
I've never been in a fire before. Nor was I alive when 9/11 had happened. I'm not going to get into that. No, not at all. But I've never been in a fire. I've been in a fire drill, which is nothing like being in a real fire. They tell you, be nice, be calm, all of that. And if that's a fire drill. A real fire, it's a bit more of a panic than you would think. And they tell you to stay calm about it.
9. Dinosaurs changing nature. Does anyone else remember this show?
Those were nukes. So we're talking about Nuclear Winter.
This was Jim Henson's light-hearted 90s kids show comedy about the antics of a puppet dinosaur family.
Yeah, I remember the show. Dinosaurs had a few
I've heard of the show.
mature episodes here and there, but it was mostly a comedy. But Dinosaurs had one particular episode that got incredibly bleak.
Ah, yes. One day, the main character Earl causes the mass global extinction of the entire dinosaur species. All plant life on the Earth is poisoned, the sun is blocked out, and the Earth's temperatures are sent below freezing. And it's not like it's just a sudden comet out of nowhere and all the dinosaurs are gone. The dinosaur family is acutely aware they're soon to perish, and we watch them every step of the way in realizing this.
And he didn't take real good care of it. And now it looks like there won't be much of a world left for you or your brother and sister to live in.
Well, what's going to happen to us?
And the final shot of the whole series is a snow-covered home in the midst of a 10,000-year-long nuclear winter, delivering a brutal anti-nuke message.
Given we were parodying...
So I was right. It was a nuke.
Barney the dinosaur only a
Now, that's not necessarily something to be proud about, but just saying.
few episodes back. I don't think any child or adult was expecting Jim Henson to finish the light-hearted comedy on this episode. Number 8. Captain Planet. Mind Pollution. I actually added this episode to the top 10 most controversial cartoons a few years ago, but it just can't...
I think I watched that one. I didn't react to it. I only react to the ones that I've never seen before, which also, go check out their channel. Again, link will be in the description down below. If you want me to react to any of them videos, I don't think you... No, I'd have to... I'll have to figure out how you guys can contact me. Besides in the comments of the videos, which are down below, I gotta think of, like, is there a way you can DM me?
Not
And I will put that in my channel information.
be mentioned. Linka gets hooked on heroin, or bliss as they call it, when her cousin secretly drugs her. Yikes.
Well, there's two controversial things in that. Heroin and drugging. Heroin being very controversial. Not going to get into that. But drug, again, very controversial. But it's also... Here, I'm just going to see if you guys can figure it out from this. Bill Cosby. There you go. Trying to figure that out.
Isn't that the best thing you ever ate?
This is also one of the first instances of blood in animation. Before dying of a drug overdose, Linka's cousin jumps out of a window and starts bleeding profusely.
A lot of people tend to make fun of this episode.
Sorry, I'm tired.
because of its completely
Also, I got school tomorrow, so yay.
over-the-top representation of drugs. And although there is an element of propaganda, I actually like the analogy of a person's mind becoming polluted through drugs. In fact, Linka's mind becomes too polluted for her to be able to use her ring to kill G.
Your mind's too polluted to use your ring.
It's considered the darkest episode of Captain Planet, containing the only death in the entire show. It was a shockingly dark step away from the show's usual simple, don't litter message.
But according to my house rules, dealer always loses.
And for number 7, My Little Pony, Cutie Map.
What?
What it could be so dark in My Little Pony?
Really, Strider? My Little Pony? It's hard to imagine the show being even slightly dark.
I know, right? But this episode does handle
Shit that I gotta react to. I know.
cults, dictatorships, and creepiest of all, forceful conditioning. The episode is about the My Little Pony crew discovering a town under the control of a cult. But I like how many of them immediately see through the cult's loss of humanity, and how they've lost an element of their free will. I mean, Fluttershy is still as gullible as ever, but nothing sneaks by Pinkie Pie.
I think it's lovely. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I know Smiles, and those smiles, they're just not right.
Even if the ponies seem
Wow. If I walked into school one day, or, well, not just school, but anywhere one day, and seen those smiles, Mom, Dad, we're packing our shit. We're moving. Yeah, well, Mary Water. Got it.
happy on the surface, this episode teaches kids to look carefully for danger that might not be so obvious. It also introduces kids to the concept of a big brother watching them and purposely attempting to mislead them. It teaches a vigilance you don't often see taught in kids' shows, and I like that. Perhaps the most unsettling scene is where every pony is forcefully frozen, locked up, and then the cult begins to condition them. Each of our heroes begins to lose elements of their humanity. They manage to unravel the cult at the end, but the eerie atmosphere of this episode left a lot of My Little Pony fans uncomfortable and scratching their heads.
Really, dude? My Little Pony?
Really? It was creepy. Number 6. Sesame Street. Snuffy's parents' divorce.
Although Snuffy's parents get a divorce,
That's a very controversial topic, also. Right now it's a big...
was originally intended to air in 1992, it was suddenly cancelled because test screenings found, quote, unintended negative effects.
And what were these unintended negative effects, you ask? Well, some children thought after watching this episode that their parents no longer loved them. What? What exactly did this episode say? Sesame Street have never been afraid to shy away from difficult subjects such as death, childbirth, incarceration, and disasters. In fact, some of the most beautiful, earnest moments in the series are from these episodes. But this is the only time that Sesame Street has really botched up with an episode. Well, that and when they brought the Wicked Witch on.
I truly believe that Sesame Street had all the
Wait, when was this? I don't watch Sesame Street. Never have, actually. Or Barney. I think I watched it once. I watched Barney once. Found it the creepiest thing in the world. And quit watching it.
right intentions, but I guess here they just kind of messed up, and it is now one of the only episodes of Sesame Street that has never been aired.
But in all fairness, their new divorce segment is beautiful and perfectly addresses the subject to kids.
But they said they both still love me very much. I've got big feelings.
Oh, I love this show. Anyway, despite the episode being complete, the tape never left the test screening chambers and was never shown to the public. Over the last half-century, there hasn't been a trace of it, except for a few...
Let me know if you guys want me to do a vlog at night. Or like go out in the field at night by myself or with a friend. Well, in this case, cousin.
Stills and pictures. And here is the only picture I could find.
Actually, I showed you that picture, Strider.
And here is the only picture George could find.
That's probably like the only funny part in this show, in this thing right there. Just, here's the only picture that I could find. Actually, I showed you that picture, Strider. Here's the only picture that George could find.
Number 5. SpongeBob SquarePants. Nasty.
Okay.
There it is. Mr. Rogers. Violence and conflict. Interestingly, there was one lost episode of Mr. Rogers that only aired once. The reason is that it discusses, very smartly and respectfully, war and terrorism to children.
What does assassination mean?
In fact, Mr. Rogers specifically
I'm not going to answer that question.
requests that the children watch the episode with an adult.
Mr. Rogers made this episode after the murder of John Lennon and the failed assassination of Ronald Reagan. He still has his usual pleasant nature, but the subject matter
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay.
was considered too controversial for young children.
Frankly, I thought it was fine when I saw it.
As soon as the plane leaves, then the people will come and get the food and feed it to their children and to themselves.
Mr. Rogers explains things like how victims of war get air supplies during a conflict, and discusses how mentally sick people can do horrible violence.
But when we get sad and angry, you and I, we know what to do with our feelings, so we don't have to hurt other people.
As dark concepts as these may be for young kids, damn, this man handles the subject well. Once again, he treats the kids like equals, asking the children's opinions on why people might commit murder when he talks at schools in the episode.
It's hard to fault Mr. Rogers when he's discussing such heavy subjects with children. I'd still call this a very important episode.
Also, I don't know if any of you guys noticed, but know that Mr. Rogers, if any of you know who he is, I don't know, I might have like new reviewers, that's the only people who are following me, but sorry, tired. Mr. Rogers, he was a major pedophile.
Despite the dark subject matter,
I agree. It's a shame this one was taken off the air. There's no one I'd trust more to talk to children about difficult concepts than Mr. Rogers. And the third darkest kid show episode is SpongeBob, Are You Happy Now?
Wake me when I'm dead.
I'm gonna link this original video, and you guys can go watch it. And you guys can go watch these on the original video.
And the second darkest kid show episode is Tom and Jerry, Blue Cat Blues. This one shocked a lot of people, as it's a Tom and Jerry episode that deals with the subject of suicide, a word that YouTube will probably flag me.
That kind of pisses me off right there. When YouTube will flag you for saying a word, Jesus Christ, or talking about said word.
Using even in a respectful context.
the episode focuses on Tom sitting on train tracks. He's very depressed and intent on being killed by the oncoming train.
The next step was the gutter.
The reason for this bizarre shift in tone and character? Tom got dumped by his girlfriend, who turned out to be a gold digger.
In a few minutes, it'll all be over.
I don't know, this one's pretty hard to buy. Honestly, if I discovered someone that important to me was purely interested in money, I wouldn't feel as bad because I would know I did everything I could in the relationship. It wouldn't primarily be a fault in my character that they left me. Sure, it'd still hurt a whole lot, but at least Tom would be aware that it was purely his love's shallow nature that he lost her for.
Yeah, but I don't think it's supposed to be analyzed like that. It's more about the train suicide thing. That's how the episode starts, and that's how it ends. It's not just the dark subject matter that makes this episode bleak, but the fact that every time Tom tries to win his girlfriend back, he fails miserably.
And every time Jerry tries to cheer his friend up, he fails miserably. Until eventually, Jerry finds that he's been dumped too and joins Tom on the tracks. And we end on the whistle of an ongoing train getting louder as the cartoon fades out. Oh, come on, could you get any darker? It almost makes you wonder if William Hanna and Joseph Barbera both just had breakups. And before we get to number one, just a couple of quick honorable mentions. Powerpuff Girls, Speed Demon. Anyone who's seen this episode doesn't forget it. The girls go forward in time and find that him has created a horrible, bleak future, turning Townsville into hell. For a kid's cartoon, this was unusually bleak, but still a really good episode, and I definitely recommend it. Every episode from Courage the Cowardly Dog. From the King Ramses episode to the Exorcist episode to the Great Fusili, there's so many Courage episodes you can cite that are dark. My two reasons for leaving off the list is, for one, everyone already knows it. And two, like Batman, I actually consider it more of a young teen show than a kid's show. That's just my opinion though. It's certainly more than dark enough to qualify for this list. Anyway, on to number one. And the number one darkest kids show episode is... I thought a lot about which to choose for number one. What was a subject on a kids show so dark that it shocked me as a child and still unsettles me as an adult? Well, it may seem like an odd choice, but this is what I chose in my subjective opinion. Powerpuff Girls, Tough Love.
Huh, really? I chose the episode Twisted Sister for my unexpectedly dark episodes and kids shows video, mainly because of the subject matter. I mean, they make a fourth sister and she's mentally handicapped, and then she dies.
Yeah, I saw Twisted Sister as well as a child, and it left me pretty shaken as well. I can still vividly remember Bunny's horrible voice in my head, but in the end, Tough Love left me the most unsettled as a kid. Now don't get me wrong, this episode is one of my favorites. It is just hilariously over-the-top dark. Putting the Powerpuff Girls in the setting of everyone they know and love, wanting to murder them.
Miss Bellum, would you care to go first? It would be my pleasure.
All your friends and family willingly attacking you is a very dark concept for both kids and adults. The story is that him develops a gas that he silently releases on the entire city, making every citizen hate the Powerpuff Girls.
Now come here, girls. As we watch them being attacked by everyone they know and love, the girls slowly realize they have no option but to attack their loved ones in a vain attempt to hold them back. This really shook me as a kid, and it left me thinking, what was the message they were trying to get across here? Don't trust anyone?
Maybe the message was that people can be unpredictable and fragile.
Honestly, that was the best message I could get from it as well. The grim message that there are limitations to the faith you can put in your relationships. While I personally think the human mind is far more complicated than that, it's about the darkest message I could possibly imagine giving to children. While I do like the episode, I personally found Tough Love the darkest kids show episode I've ever seen.
Oh, for crying out loud, would you three shut up for once?
What is interesting about this list is it's certainly not a...
Well, thank you guys. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, hit the like button, comment, subscribe. If I can, I mean, this is not something I normally do. If I can hit, I don't know, like 5 likes, just because they're not very big. If I can hit 5 likes by next week on this video, I will release why I was not at school. So, once again, thank you guys for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.